The Galactic Council chamber floated in silence, orbiting a dying star. It was the largest political body in the known galaxy, where thousands of alien species sent their representatives. The chamber itself was a wonder, an enormous sphere with platforms suspended in the air, each platform carrying one delegate and their advisors. The air shimmered with holographic displays, translation fields, and records of past meetings. For centuries, this council had debated wars, trade routes, laws, and peace treaties. But on this day, one topic burned brighter than all others: the humans. A tall, insectoid delegate from the Crixith Dominion clicked his mandibles and raised his voice, amplified so all could hear. Council members, we must speak honestly. Humanity is advancing far too quickly. Barely a century ago, they were tied to their small world. But now they build ships, cross the stars, and even challenge some of our fleets. If we do not act now, they will grow into a threat beyond control. I say we invade Earth and end this danger before it begins. The words rippled through the chamber. Dozens of delegates shifted uncomfortably. Some whispered to their aides, some hissed in anger. Others nodded in grim agreement. On the far side of the chamber, Delegate Threx of the Velians let out a sharp sound, a mixture of disbelief and frustration. His blue-scaled body stiffened, and his long tail flicked with irritation. He had expected the humans to be discussed, but not like this. Not so openly. Another delegate, a massive, fur-covered envoy from the Drath clans, rumbled his voice. The insectoid speaks truth. These humans are dangerous. They multiply quickly, spread quickly, and fight like no other species. If we wait, they will take territory that belongs to others. Better to strike now while they are still weak. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Threx finally spoke. His voice carried a strange tone, half warning, half disbelief. Invade Earth? Are you mad? The entire chamber froze for a heartbeat. All eyes, compound, single, glowing, or otherwise, turned toward him. Threx stepped forward on his platform, his golden eyes glowing under the council's light. You speak of humans as if they are simple prey. You think they are weak because they are young. But I have studied them. I have read their history. I have watched their actions. Do you not see what you are suggesting? An invasion of Earth is not a strategy. It is suicide, the insectoid delegate hissed in annoyance. Exaggerations. They are clever, yes, but still primitive. Their fleets are small. Their weapons are crude. With one council fleet, we could crush their defenses within a cycle. Crush their defenses? Threx asked, his tail twitching faster. Yes, perhaps. But then what? Do you know how humans respond when attacked? Do you know how they react when threatened? They do not surrender quietly. They fight. They resist. And every time someone tries to break them, they come back stronger than before. The chamber stirred again. Delegates murmured, some agreeing, others shaking their heads. From another platform, the soft, watery voice of an aquatic delegate drifted. But is it not wiser to stop a fire before it spreads? Humanity's speed is alarming. They leap centuries of progress in decades. What if they surpass us all? Threx nodded slowly. They might surpass us. That is true. But consider this, why do they advance so quickly? Because they never stop learning. Because they are never satisfied with limits. Because their history is filled with struggle after struggle, and yet they endure. That is not a weakness. That is the greatest strength this galaxy has seen. The insectoid delegate slammed his claws down. Strength? You call their recklessness strength? They poison their own world. They fight endless wars. They waste resources with foolish pride. They are unstable. Threx raised his hand calmly. And yet, they survive. Think on that. How many species here would have perished if their world froze, if their skies burned, if their continents drowned? Humans faced all of these and they lived. They even thrived. The silence that followed was heavier than any weapon. One small bird-like delegate tilted his head. Are you saying humanity cannot be defeated? Threx shook his head. No species is invincible, but humanity is dangerous in a different way, not because of their ships, not because of their weapons, but because of who they are. Attack them, and you will awaken something none of us can control. The chamber broke into a storm of voices. Some shouted agreement, some argued louder than before. The council moderator, a glowing entity of pure energy, had to pulse its light several times to restore order. Delegates, the moderator's voice boomed in every tongue at once. We will not dissolve into chaos. The proposal of the Crixith Dominion will be recorded. A vote will be scheduled. Until then, further arguments may be presented. The insectoid clicked with satisfaction, convinced that victory was near. But Threx stood silently on his platform, his heart heavy. He could see it in their eyes, the fear of humanity was growing. And fear in the council was more dangerous than truth. He leaned close to his aide, a younger Velian who had never seen humans in person. The aide whispered, "Why do they not see reason, Honored One? Why do they believe invasion will save them?" Threx's gaze hardened. "Because they mistake fear for wisdom. They think if they destroy what they fear, they will be safe. But they do not understand humans. If the council votes for war, it will not be humanity that ends, it will be the council itself." The aide's eyes widened in shock. "Do you truly believe that?" Threx closed his eyes, remembering ancient records, human broadcasts, and countless stories of survival. He whispered almost to himself, "I do not believe." "I know." The chamber dimmed as the council recessed for the day, each delegate retreating to their quarters to prepare arguments. But even as the platforms floated away, whispers spread. Whispers of Earth, whispers of fear, whispers of a decision that could change the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy when the next session began. Thousands of lights glittered across the sphere as delegates took their places. The proposal to invade Earth now hung over everyone like a storm cloud, and every word spoken carried heavy weight. Delegate Threx of the Velian sat in silence for a long moment, his golden eyes fixed on the shifting lights of the chamber. He knew today he had to speak, and speak clearly. If he failed, the council's fear would carry the vote toward war. The moderator pulsed bright. "Delegates of the council, arguments may be presented. The floor is open." Before anyone else could step forward, Threx raised his hand. His platform glided forward and the chamber quieted. Many eyes turned toward him, not with respect but with suspicion. He began slowly, choosing his words carefully. "Honored Council, yesterday we heard a dangerous proposal. To invade Earth. To destroy humanity before they grow too strong. I tell you now, that path is not wisdom. It is folly. And it is death." The insectoid delegate from the Crixith hissed loudly, but the moderator signaled for silence. Threx continued. "You call them reckless. You call them unstable. You call them dangerous. Perhaps you are correct. But you forget something important. Their danger is not in their instability. It is in their resilience. Humanity does not break. Humanity endures." He raised his scaled hand and a hologram flickered to life above his platform. Images of Earth filled the air. Oceans, mountains, storms, deserts, and cities. Look at their homeworld. It is not gentle. It is not easy. It is violent and unpredictable. Yet from this world came a species that thrived in every corner. Where most species remain in safe climates, humans learn to live in burning deserts, frozen tundras, endless forests, and stormy seas. They bend their world to survive. No other race here has done this to such an extent. Some delegates leaned forward, watching with uneasy interest. Threx shifted the image. Now it showed records of Earth's history. Fires, floods, earthquakes. Their world tried to kill them again and again. Volcanoes buried their cities. Quakes broke their lands. Ice ages froze their skies. Yet they lived. They adapted. They rebuilt. His voice hardened. If you invade them, do you think they will simply fall? No, they will adapt again, and what they learn from fighting us will make them stronger than ever. The chamber erupted with murmurs. Some shook their heads, others nodded slowly. A thin, crystalline delegate asked coldly, "But surely their wars prove they are too violent to be trusted. Do you not fear what they will do to us if they grow unchecked?" Threx's tail flicked once. "I do not deny their violence. But look deeper. Every time they fight, they rebuild. Every time they lose, they rise. Their wars do not weaken them forever, they sharpen them. Name another species in this chamber who could destroy half their world in war and still reach the stars within a century. None. Only humanity." He switched the hologram again. Images of human achievements appeared. Bridges, rockets, medicine, exploration. They fight, yes, but they also heal. They discover. They imagine. Their creativity is like fire. It spreads, it burns, it gives light. If we destroy them, we destroy something rare in this galaxy. The insectoid delegate could not stay silent any longer. He slammed his claws down. "You speak of them like heroes. You forget the danger. Their creativity also makes weapons. Their unity is fragile. Their ambitions will spread beyond control." Threx turned slowly toward him. "Yes, their ambitions will spread. But what do they spread? Look at their explorers. They do not conquer every world they find. They seek to understand. They do not destroy every new life form, they study it. Even now they reach into the stars not for war, but for curiosity. Can you not see the difference? The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Then a delegate from the aquatic Polari floated forward, speaking softly. But what if you are wrong, Velian? What if one day humanity turns all of that strength against us? Should we not act before that day arrives? Threx looked at the Polari with tired eyes. If you attack them first, you will guarantee the day arrives. You will make your fear real. Humanity does not start wars with strangers, but if you strike them, they will finish wars with determination no one else can match. Do you wish to gamble with a species that learns faster under pressure than any other we have seen? His words carried weight. Delegates shifted uneasily, whispering to one another. The moderator pulsed again. Delegate Threx, your warning is noted. Do you have further evidence? Threx nodded. His platform lit up with more holograms, records of humans climbing great mountains, sailing across dangerous seas, flying into the skies. Even without technology, humans challenged their limits. They crossed oceans with wood and cloth. They climbed peaks where the air was too thin to breathe. They dived into crushing depths of oceans where light does not reach. Every obstacle they faced became a challenge, not a barrier. That is their true weapon, not ships, not guns, but their refusal to accept limits. The chamber grew quieter and quieter as he spoke. Then he said softly, almost like a whisper, if you invade Earth, you will awaken that refusal against you, and nothing in this galaxy will stop them once they unite. A cold silence fell. Even the insectoid did not speak. Finally, the moderator pulsed once more. The Council has heard the warnings of Delegate Threx. Additional arguments will be recorded before the vote. This session will now close. Platforms drifted back to their places, but the whispers did not stop. Many delegates glanced at Threx with unreadable expressions. Some with doubt, others with fear, and a few with respect. Threx sat quietly, his claws folded, his golden eyes distant. He had spoken the truth. Whether they listened or not was another matter. His aide leaned close, whispering, You spoke well, Honored One, but I fear they will not listen. Threx's voice was low. Yes, fear blinds them, and fear is already spreading faster than truth. He looked once more at the great chamber, knowing what was coming. The vote would not be easy. And in his heart he knew something darker. Some factions would not wait for the vote at all. They would test humanity in secret. The council chamber had gone quiet after Threx's warning, but silence in politics was never peace. Whispers spread like fire through dry grass. Delegates returned to their quarters, and private meetings began behind closed doors. Some spoke of patience. Others, however, whispered of action. Threx was not surprised when his aide reported strange movements. Certain factions, the Crixith Dominion, the Drath clans, and even a few lesser powers, were pulling fleets into shadow. Officially, these were training exercises. Unofficially, Threx knew the truth. They will not wait for the vote, Threx said grimly, pacing in his quarters. His golden eyes glowed dimly in the dark. They will test humanity first. They believe a test will prove me wrong. His aide, young and nervous, shifted uneasily. And if they do? If they provoke the humans? Threx stopped walking. His tail twitched once sharply. Then we will see the fire I warned them about. Far away on the edge of the Sol system, small alien probes slid through the dark. Sleek machines, invisible to most sensors, creeping closer to Earth. They tapped into satellites, scanned human ships, and whispered their findings back to their masters. At first, everything seemed simple. Humanity's fleets were small. Their stations were crude. Their defenses, compared to ancient empires, looked laughably weak. The Crixith Dominion reported confidently to its council, "The humans are children playing with metal. They cannot stop us." But then something unexpected happened. A probe that hacked into Earth's communication grid was noticed, not by governments, not by military fleets, but by ordinary humans. Engineers monitoring satellites, hackers searching strange signals, students curious about a spike of noise in the networks. Within hours, humans were tracing the intrusion. Within days, they had not only blocked the probe, but sent false data back, confusing the Dominion's readings. By the end of the week, the humans had tracked the probe's hidden path through space. When the report reached the Dominion fleet, their commander stared in disbelief. "Impossible," he hissed. "No species reacts that fast. They should not even see us." But the humans had seen. And worse, they had responded creatively. On Earth, in hidden command centers, quiet meetings took place. Governments spoke cautiously, pretending nothing unusual had happened, but behind closed doors they were alarmed. "This was no natural glitch," one human general said, pointing to holographic data. "Someone is watching us. Someone advanced." Scientists and analysts joined in. "These signals, this technology, it is far beyond ours. Whoever sent this, they are testing us." The room fell silent. Finally, one voice spoke what everyone feared. Aliens. Instead of panic, however, a strange unity formed. Nations that argued daily suddenly shared information. Hackers who once fought against governments now offered their skills to trace intrusions. Scientists from rival labs exchanged data late into the night. Humanity was not collapsing in fear. Humanity was preparing. Back in the council, rumors spread fast. Delegates whispered of probes lost in soul space, of fleets confused by false human signals, of communication traps humans had set. The insectoid delegate from the Crixith was furious. "Tricks, nothing but tricks. They are primitives throwing dust in our eyes. We will test harder." Threx spoke coldly. "You already tested." And they already answered. But the Dominion ignored him. They sent more probes, stronger this time, with stealth that no empire had countered before. The humans saw them again. A group of human astronomers, working in different parts of the world, noticed unusual shadows moving across the stars. They were not soldiers, not generals, just ordinary people with telescopes and curiosity. They compared notes online, and within hours suspicions grew. "Something is out there," one wrote. "Not natural. Not ours." By the next day, the information reached governments. By the day after, Earth's defense agencies were quietly repositioning satellites. They did not panic. They did not collapse. They adapted. When the probes tried to slip into Earth's orbit, they found traps waiting. Decoys, false signals, and scrambled fields. Several were destroyed by simple missiles. One was captured almost intact. The humans dragged it into a hidden hangar and stared at its alien design. They did not yet understand it, but they were already dismantling, studying, learning. In the council, news arrived like thunder. The Drath delegates snarled. "Captured by humans? This is not possible." A soft laugh came from Threx's platform. "And yet it is true. Tell me again how weak they are." The insectoid delegate spat angrily. "They are clever animals. Nothing more. But we will not be humiliated. We will send a fleet to test them directly." The chamber stirred with fear. Testing probes was one thing. A fleet would be another. Threx stood, his voice sharp. "Do it, and you will regret it. Every strike against them makes them stronger. Every challenge teaches them faster. You are forging the weapon you fear most." But the Dominion did not listen. Pride blinded them. In orbit around Earth, strange lights flickered weeks later. Small alien ships, cloaked and fast, approached the blue planet. They did not fire, not yet. They only watched, scanned, and pushed, blocking signals, testing responses. The humans noticed almost instantly. This time it was not only hackers and scientists. Civilians across the planet saw strange disturbances in the sky. Amateur radio operators picked up whispers in frequencies they had never heard before. A group of students even hijacked part of a communication back to the alien fleet, sending a single message in dozens of human languages. "We see you." The Dominion fleet panicked. Their stealth had never failed before. Their commanders barked orders, retreating into the dark. On Earth, humans did not celebrate. They did something far more dangerous. They began preparing for the next time. When the report reached the council, the chamber exploded in arguments. "This is madness," one delegate shouted. "They should not be capable of this. Probes, fleets, nothing works. How are they countering us?" cried another. The insectoid delegate insisted it was lies, but even his allies were shaken. Threx stood silently until the moderator allowed him to speak. His voice carried through the chamber like cold steel. "You see now. They adapt. They resist. They unite. Every test you throw at them only feeds the fire. And still you ask me why invasion is madness?" The chamber went silent. Threx looked at the crowd, his golden eyes sharp. "This was only a test. Imagine if it were war. Imagine what they will become when pushed to their limits." Invade Earth, and you will not conquer a planet. You will awaken a storm. That night, as the council adjourned, fear spread faster than before. The test had failed. Humanity had seen them, caught them, and even mocked them. But in shadowed halls, the pro-invasion factions only grew more determined. Pride burned too hot to admit defeat. They whispered of fleets. They whispered of strikes, and Threx, watching from his chamber, whispered a truth only he seemed to understand. The storm is already awake. Threx could not wait any longer. The secret tests had shaken the council, but whispers of war still grew louder. The insectoid delegates and the Drath clans were already planning their next move, a direct strike. Threx knew that words alone would not sway the stubborn council this time. He had to see Earth for himself. He requested a private passage from the moderator. Cloaked in shadows and using an experimental vessel designed for stealth, he left the council chamber, slipping unnoticed through the stars towards Sol. No one could track him. Not the Dominion, not the clans, not even the council itself. As he approached the pale blue planet, Threx felt an unusual sense of curiosity. He had read countless reports, seen countless images, and studied every record of humanity. But nothing could prepare him for what he was about to witness firsthand. The vessel descended silently, invisible to human eyes and sensors. From orbit, Earth looked fragile yet vibrant, a living jewel spinning against the black void. Oceans shimmered like liquid silver under the sun, forests swayed in the wind, and cities glowed softly with the hum of millions of lives. Threx's tail twitched in thought. Such a small world, and yet such strength. He activated a cloaking field and lowered the ship into the upper atmosphere, watching as planes cut through clouds, ships sailed across oceans, and people moved about their daily lives. There was no panic, no fear of the stars above. Life on Earth was ordinary, but ordinary did not mean weak. Threx decided to land near a human city, blending his vessel among a remote forest to avoid detection. From there, he could observe without interference. He watched children play in parks, laughing and shouting, completely unaware of the distant probe that had been in their skies. He observed scientists working in laboratories, analyzing data from space, even re-examining the signals from the council's probes. Humans who had never met each other collaborated, solved problems, and shared ideas. A memory from council reports flashed in Threx's mind. Humans were primitive, chaotic, and violent. And yet what he saw now was the opposite. Violence existed, yes, but it was not mindless destruction. Humans argued, yes, but they also listened, adapted, and forgave. Mistakes did not destroy them. They learned from them. Their resilience was visible in every ordinary action. A farmer repairing a broken irrigation system, a teacher helping students solve problems, a group of volunteers cleaning a storm-damaged neighborhood. Threx's golden eyes narrowed. This is what they are, not what the council fears, not what their enemies think. This is their true strength. He shifted the vessel to observe humanity's efforts beyond their cities. Rockets lifted from launch pads, probing the heavens. Satellites orbited the planet, mapping the stars. Teams of engineers designed spacecraft that could one day cross solar systems. And yet no human ship carried weapons of war capable of conquering worlds beyond their own. They sought knowledge first. Threx descended closer to a research facility where humans were analyzing a captured probe, the very same Dominion probe that had been intercepted weeks earlier. Inside, humans worked tirelessly. They were not military officers. Many were engineers, programmers, scientists, and students. Each contributed in their own way. One young woman studied the probe's energy source. Another programmed algorithms to map its systems. A man carefully dismantled a delicate component to examine its function. Threx watched silently. The humans made mistakes, but they corrected them quickly, learning from each failure. They argued at times, but with respect, and their collaboration was seamless despite differences of opinion. It was then he realized something crucial. Humans are not perfect, but they grow stronger with every challenge. Threx's observation continued over days. He saw humans helping each other in ways no report could convey. During a sudden storm, neighbors rescued those stranded in floodwaters. During a local power outage, strangers distributed food and medicine. When an accident occurred, bystanders ran toward the danger, not away. He remembered the council's arguments. They are unpredictable. They are violent. They will destroy what they touch. Threx's tail twitched in disbelief. Violence, perhaps. But humanity's response to danger was not chaos. It was action, care, and invention. They could survive floods, storms, or alien probes because they did not simply endure. They cooperated, adapted, and imagined solutions no other species could. He made a note in his recorder. This is a species shaped by struggle. Every attempt to destroy them only teaches them how to survive better. Late one night, Threx ventured into a city disguised in human form, a small, cloaked holographic shell that made him appear like a tall human observer. He walked among the streets quietly. He overheard conversations. People spoke of politics, science, art, and dreams. They worried about their environment, helped one another, and laughed at their failures. He saw humans creating music, literature, and technology simultaneously. They were curious about everything, the stars above, the creatures around them, and the mysteries of life itself. Threx paused in front of a school where children debated the possibility of life beyond Earth. They argued, yes, but with excitement and wonder rather than fear. What if they are watching us? One asked. Do you think they will come? A boy laughed. If they do, I hope they are friendly. We can learn from them. Threx's chest pulsed with an emotion he rarely admitted. Awe. The next day he attended a human scientific facility studying the alien probe. Researchers discussed strategies for adaptation rather than destruction. They treated the device as a puzzle, a challenge to understand, not a weapon to destroy. One scientist looked at Threx in his human disguise and said aloud, The more we learn, the more we see that knowledge is power, but not for conquest. Power is for understanding, creating, and helping. Threx felt the truth in those words. Humanity did not seek to dominate, they sought to grow. And that growth, unchecked, was what the Council feared. But the fear was misplaced. Returning to orbit at night, Threx activated his communicator and sent a hidden message to the Galactic Council. He could not speak openly, the pro-invasion factions would intercept, but he could warn the moderator discreetly. The message was simple. Do not invade, observe. Humanity is not a threat to be crushed, they are a force that could unite, inspire, and lead. Strike them and you will awaken a storm. Guide them and the galaxy may flourish. He waited hours watching Earth turn slowly beneath him. Cities glimmered in the darkness. Oceans reflected the moon and storms danced over continents. The planet was alive, so were its people. Threx reflected on the Council's fears. They think humans are dangerous because they are unpredictable, but they do not see the beauty in their unpredictability. They think humans are weak because they are small in number, but they do not see the strength born of persistence, cooperation, and imagination. He thought about the Dominion, the clans, and the insectoid delegates. He understood now that no words would convince them, not yet. They would test again. They would push, but he had hope. Humans were not waiting. They were ready, and if the Council tried to destroy them, they would pay a price none of the galaxy's empires could foresee. Before leaving Earth, Threx took one last look. He saw families working together in gardens, students debating science projects, engineers repairing satellites. Humans were small, fragile, and ordinary in appearance, but extraordinary in essence. He whispered softly to himself, Invade Earth? No, the Council would be mad to even try. This planet, this species, is something the galaxy cannot ignore, cannot destroy. They are beyond fear, beyond control. They are remarkable. The Galactic Council chamber glimmered with tension. For days, delegates had argued, whispered, and plotted. The debate over Earth had reached its peak. The insectoid and Drath factions pressed for immediate action, while others, uneasy after Threx's warnings, hesitated. Threx entered the chamber quietly, his golden eyes scanning the room. Unlike before, he carried more than words this time. He carried knowledge from his secret visit, the undeniable truth of humanity's strength. The moderator pulsed softly. Delegates of the Council, the vote on the proposal to invade Earth will now commence. All arguments must be final. The insectoid delegate banged his claws against his platform. We have done all we can. Humanity is young, reckless, and dangerous. If we wait, they will surpass us all. Strike now or be powerless forever. Threx stepped forward. You call them reckless, yet I have seen what recklessness looks like. It is not chaos. It is growth. You call them dangerous, yet I have seen their true power. Not in ships or weapons, but in their courage, cooperation, and imagination. Strike Earth and you will awaken a force none of you can control. A murmur swept through the chamber. Several delegates exchanged glances. Even the Drath clans hesitated, their pride warring with fear. The moderator pulsed brighter. Delegate Threx, your testimony is noted. Final arguments, if any. A small, bird-like delegate spoke softly. I have observed reports from the field. The humans have not only countered our probes, they have adapted, learned, and improved. They are not weak. They are extraordinary, the insectoid hissed. They are clever animals. That does not make them a species to be admired. It makes them dangerous. Threx's voice cut through the chamber, steady and commanding. Yes, they are dangerous. But the danger is not to themselves. It is to those who strike first. They do not attack without reason. They do not conquer without cause. Yet they endure and they grow and they learn. You cannot control them. You cannot predict them. They are not a problem to solve with weapons. They are a lesson to learn from. Silence fell. Even the insectoid struggled to reply. The vote began. Holographic lights above each platform glowed red for invasion, green for abstain, and blue for protection. The insectoid's faction pressed red. Several smaller factions influenced by fear and pride pressed red as well. But Threx watched as the balance slowly shifted. Delegates who had observed humanity's response to the tests pressed green. A few pressed blue, signaling support for observation and protection rather than war. Hours passed. The council chamber vibrated with tension. Each vote carried weight not just for Earth but for the credibility of the council itself. Finally, the moderator pulsed brightly. The vote is complete. Results are as follows. Red, attack Earth, 34%. Green, abstain, 18%. Blue, observe and protect, 48%. Gasps echoed. The pro-invasion majority had failed. The motion to invade Earth was denied. Threx let out a long breath he had been holding. His tail twitched in satisfaction. It is done. For now. But victory was not complete. The insectoid delegate slammed his claws down, furious. This vote changes nothing. We will test them again. Strike them before they learn too much. Threx approached him calmly. You already have. And you have seen the result. Every attempt you make teaches them faster. You have not weakened them, you have strengthened them. Your pride blinds you. The insectoid's eyes flashed with anger. You are naive, Valian. They will become a threat if we do not act. Threx's voice dropped. Do you not see? You have already acted. Every probe, every fleet, every challenge, it has made them ready for what the galaxy cannot yet imagine. Strike again and you awaken a force you cannot contain. Guide them instead and the galaxy flourishes. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity was unaware of the Council's vote. Life continued. Scientists studied the captured probes. Engineers repaired satellites and ordinary citizens moved through their days, curious and bold. Humans had no fear of the stars. They did not plot wars of conquest. They explored, imagined, and collaborated. Threx observed from orbit, his vessel hidden. He watched humanity without intervening, taking careful notes. He marveled at their creativity, their courage, their unity in moments of difficulty. They are young, he whispered. But they are wise in ways we cannot teach. They do not need guidance to survive. They will teach us if we only listen. Back at the council, the debate shifted from invasion to invitation. Some delegates suggested cautious contact. Others proposed trade agreements. A few argued for shared research. Threx spoke last. Invite them into the galaxy, yes. But do not expect them to conform to our rules. They will adapt our lessons, but they will teach us more in return. Humanity is not a species to be crushed. Humanity is a species to respect, to learn from, and perhaps one day to follow. The moderator pulsed approvingly. Motion recorded. The council will proceed with cautious engagement. Earth will be observed and respected, not invaded. Applause, or the alien equivalent, echoed through the chamber. Many delegates bowed to Threx. Even some who had argued for invasion now understood the wisdom of restraint. Weeks later, Threx returned to Earth in disguise. He approached a quiet city park where humans were gathered, laughing and sharing ideas. Children played while adults discussed science, philosophy, and dreams. For the first time, Threx spoke aloud, in a language humans could hear. I have seen your world. I have seen your people. You are extraordinary. A young boy turned, eyes wide. "Who are you?" Threx smiled, a gesture learned from observation. "A friend. Someone who watches and learns. You have shown the galaxy what it means to survive, to create, and to inspire." The boy frowned. "Are you from space?" Threx nodded. "Yes, but do not fear. I do not come to conquer, only to understand." The humans did not panic. They listened. They asked questions. They shared ideas. Threx realized then the truth of his warnings. Humanity's power was not in domination or destruction. Their power was in curiosity, courage, and cooperation. Back at the council, the pro-invasion factions simmered with frustration. Their pride had been tempered by fear. Threx, however, was content. He had seen the humans in action. He had learned their nature. And he knew the galaxy would never forget Earth again, not as a target but as a force. The final words of the session echoed in his mind. "Invade Earth? Are you mad?" Yes, mad. Anyone who tried would regret it. And anyone who ignored humanity's true potential would learn too late what it meant to awaken a species that thrived not because of weapons or fleets but because of imagination, unity, and heart. As he drifted among the stars, watching Earth spin beneath him, Threx made a silent promise. The galaxy will follow humanity one day, not because it must, but because it will want to.